All right, here's a wild thought for you. To really live, you have to remember you're going to die. I know, it sounds like a total paradox, right? But this idea, it's been at the heart of philosophy and art and wisdom for thousands of years. So, let's get into it.
I mean, seriously, what if the secret to a happier life was actually thinking about death? It sounds crazy, doesn't it? The one thing our culture tells us to push away, to not talk about. What if that's the key to unlocking a more meaningful, more grateful existence? It's a huge question, and believe me, ancient thinkers were all over it.
Yeah, we tend to see death as this morbid, scary thing, a topic you just don't bring up at the dinner table. But what if we've got it all wrong? Because if you look back through history, you see this incredible pattern. From Stoic philosophers in Rome to Buddhist monks in the East, the message was always the same. Facing up to our own mortality isn't about being afraid. It's about getting crystal clear on what it means to actually be alive.
Okay, so to really get this, we need to look at two really powerful and surprisingly similar concepts that popped up on completely opposite sides of the world. So, first up in the West, we've got Memento Mori. Now, this isn't about being gloomy or fixating on the end, not at all. The real point is to use that inevitable end as a kind of filter for your life right now. Think of it like a tool, a tool for clarity that helps you cut through all the trivial stuff and focus on what actually truly matters.
And then, all the way over in the East, you find Maranasati. It's said that the Buddha himself called death awareness the supreme form of mindfulness. And the purpose here? It's all about creating this sense of spiritual urgency, to jolt us out of that feeling that we have all the time in the world, because, well, we don't.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. How did these two completely separate traditions land on almost the exact same idea?
Just take a look at this. It's pretty amazing, right? You've got Stoicism on one side, Buddhism on the other. Their methods were different, for sure. The Stoics were all about rationality, while the Buddhists focused on mindfulness. But the core ideas, they're shockingly similar. Both traditions say, hey, life is tough sometimes. Both see impermanence as a basic truth of existence. And they're both aiming for the state of deep inner peace, whether you call it apatheia like the Stoics or nibbana like the Buddhists.
For the Stoics, death wasn't some terrible tragedy, it was just a natural part of life. And this quote from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, it just nails their whole perspective. The idea of death wasn't supposed to make you despair. It was supposed to light a fire under you to be a good person, right here, right now. And it's a similar story with Buddhism. The whole path really starts with this clear-eyed acceptance of reality, the understanding that everything, and that includes us, is impermanent. That's not meant to be pessimistic. No, it's the foundation for really truly appreciating how precious and fleeting this whole experience is.
And this wasn't just some abstract philosophical idea stuck in old books. It actually shaped culture in some really powerful visual ways.
So, picture this. It's the 17th century Netherlands, the Dutch Golden Age. People are getting incredibly wealthy. And right in the middle of all this prosperity, a new style of painting gets super popular. It was called Vanitas, which comes from the Latin word for vanity or emptiness. And these paintings were basically a beautiful, symbolic way of saying Memento Mori. And these paintings, they were packed with a kind of secret language. You can see here, every single object meant something. That skull or hourglass, that's about time slipping away. The books and maps, they symbolize how limited our human knowledge really is. Even something as simple and beautiful as a soap bubble was a reminder of just how fragile and short life can be. Okay, now we're going to shift gears. We're moving from the quiet, reflective world of art to something way more visceral, way more direct. In Tibet, death awareness isn't just an idea you think about, it's a powerful communal ritual you experience. So the whole point of the sky burial, or Jhator, revolves around the Buddhist idea of karuna, which means compassion. See, after death, the body is just seen as an empty vessel. So in one final, incredible act of generosity, it's offered up as food for vultures. For the community watching, it's this raw, unforgettable lesson in impermanence and our connection to the cycle of nature. And you know what? This isn't just some ancient wisdom that's been lost to time. Modern science is actually catching up and confirming just how beneficial these practices are. Psychologists actually have a name for this: mortality salience. It's basically just a fancy way of saying the awareness that you're going to die. And what's so fascinating is that in a whole field of study called terror management theory, research shows that when people are gently reminded of this fact, they don't get depressed. Instead, it's like it short-circuits all our anxieties about the small stuff and triggers a whole bunch of positive psychological changes.
And this right here, this shows you the payoff. Thinking about mortality actually makes us more grateful, more intentional, and less anxious. It makes our relationships stronger because we stop taking people for granted. It can even make us more charitable, more tolerant. The science is pretty clear on this. Thinking about the end of your life makes you way better at living it.
All right, so we've talked about ancient wisdom, we've talked about modern science, but what does this all mean for us in our day-to-day lives? How do we actually use this? Just let this number sink in for a second. 4,000. 4,000 weeks. That's roughly what an average human life is. When you frame it like that, it doesn't sound like a lot, does it? Suddenly, every single week feels incredibly precious. And that is the whole point. The goal isn't to get obsessed with death, it's to get obsessed with living. To stop wasting our precious, finite time on petty arguments, silly worries, and all the things that just don't matter in the big picture. This mindset, it's the perfect cure for the if-only trap. We all know that one, right? If only I get that promotion, or if only I move to a new city, then I'll be happy. Remembering our time is limited helps us stop tying our happiness to some future that might never even happen. Instead, we learn to find joy and peace right here, in the now. The Stoic philosopher Seneca just said it perfectly. So the question that all this ancient wisdom leaves us with isn't when will I die? The real question is, am I truly living now? And remembering death? Well, that's the ultimate tool to make sure the answer is a resounding yes.